Guys, I'm filming and it's still daylight out. For once, I am filming and it's not dark. So hopefully that means there isn't going to be any weird, like, light reflections. I don't know. We'll see. Holy crap, my concealer is really bright under my eyes. Hey guys, welcome back to another bookish video. So today I wanted to kind of follow the theme of what I did with my last video as far as The Cruel Prince. And if you have not watched that video, basically I did an original review of The Cruel Prince by Holly Black where I basically DNF'd it and I didn't like it and I talked about how I didn't like it and so on. And then my most recent video, I went back and watched it again now that I have finished the book, and therefore I could comment on my old thoughts and feelings, my new thoughts and feelings, and just combine them together to see how things have changed. And I really enjoyed doing that. Through the power of the wonderful Twitter, I sent out this tweet asking if anybody wanted or would be okay with me using their videos to do a reaction, so that way we could do more of these videos. And I got a response from Nicole, who volunteered all Hunger Games style and said I could use her videos. I will be sure to link down all of her channel information, all of her social media information down below, so you guys can go and check her out as well. Besides this video, I've been watching some of her other ones and she is fantastic. Please go check her out and support her. So because it is no secret whatsoever on my channel that I do not like Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, as soon as I saw that Nicole had a review of this book, I knew I had to watch it and react to it, so it'd be interesting to see what Nicole's feelings are about it.
Red Queen follows 17-year-old Mare Barrow, a young woman with red blood, meaning she doesn't have any special powers, or so we think.
That I do think is like the highlight of Red Queen, is when it's discovered that Mare actually has abilities. And if you have not read that book, that is not a spoiler. It happens very early in the book, and it is also the premise of like the entire series. And maybe it's a little bit of a spoiler, but it does happen almost pretty quickly, and it's not surprising that she... If you've read any YA book ever, you can probably predict that Mare was going to end up having abilities anyway.
Just like in all young adult books, everything changes when Mare meets one of the princes, who is disguised as a commoner.
Almost going along with what I just said is the fact that, yeah, like most YA, it's as soon as they meet the prince or the handsome stranger or whatever that like their whole life changes. And that's something that's actually starting to go away now in YA, since a lot of people have problems with the main female protagonist like having to rely on a man to set her free, and people have issues with that, rightfully so, and it's actually starting to go away, which thank God.
I've pretty much come to the realization that I'm way more fascinated with the pre-revolution in young adult novels than I am in the revolution as it's going on, like in books 2 and 3 of this series. I'm so intrigued about the lives of the Reds and the Silvers before everything falls apart.
I can actually really understand that. I can understand why Nicole and other people would like pre-revolution instead of during revolution, just because of the fact that pre-revolution you get all the details, you get the emotional ties of things, like taking Red Queen for example, you get her struggles in life and the things she has problems with and why her life is so hard. But when it goes into revolution, which is like revolution meaning like change of story plot, that's actually where the book lost me. Or a little history on what I've read. I read the entire first book, I got about halfway through the second one and I called it quits. About 7-8 months later I tried again, and once again couldn't get past halfway through the second book. So I actually, with Nicole's point, I actually really stand by her, and I agree that revolution within this series isn't all that great, and I can agree liking the pre-revolution things before. Now that's not for all series. There are other series where I like the revolution stages versus the original, and it's all personal taste, but as far as Red Queen goes, I completely agree with Nicole.
I love the relationship between Maven, Cal, and Mare in this book, but by the end it all falls apart. Is that a spoiler? Sorry.
I love the sass in that sorry. You can tell Nicole is not sorry even a little bit. And I don't think it's a spoiler. I mean, it wouldn't be a YA book if the love triangle didn't fall apart. Like, it has to fall apart in some way. So I don't think she spoiled anything.
Because the bad guys are always interesting to me, even though they sicken me at times. I think I'm not the only one that feels that way, so at least I'm not alone.
The best bad guys are the ones that disgust you, anger you, you're so unbelievably frustrated with. Going back to Throne of Glass for a second, Maeve in that series, I've never hated a character so much, but that's why she is such a great villain, is because you hate her guts.
What I didn't like in this book, there's just way too much description.
Amen. That is the whole reason I do not like this book. There is so much unnecessary description. There is so much about this book that you just don't need. You don't need, I don't even know how to explain it. You don't need everything that's in it, especially when you get into the second one. That's the whole reason I can't get through the second one, is because it's nothing but description, and therefore it is so boring and it is so hard to force yourself to keep with it.
I understand that you have to world build, writers, but you don't need 5 pages describing something for world building or setting the scene, or a scene, or a person, or a palace. I don't want that. I just want to get to the story.
Exactly. This is the exact point that I made in my Cruel Prince second review, most recent one. This is the exact point. Yes, you need to world build in fantasy and sci-fi, but you do it to a point. You can't do continuous description, for Nicole's example, for 5 pages, because people don't care. They stop caring. Readers don't want to read 5 pages on how beautiful that glass window was. They want to hear, oh yeah, that's a beautiful glass window, as hero A threw villain B out the beautiful window. Like, they would rather hear about the story and the descriptions that help move the story along than they would about 5 pages of description. I love when other people agree with this sentiment because I feel very strongly about it, if you couldn't tell.
And lastly, the writing and the characters felt like a screenplay more than a book, and I know that Victoria went to school for screenplay development and writing.
That's actually a fun little fact. I didn't know that. I didn't know Victoria Aveyard went to school for screenplay, and that's actually really fascinating because currently I am actually in classes writing screenplays and all that. That's actually, like, knowing that now and thinking about Red Queen, it's actually really surprising that she has so much descriptions in her stories, because for those who don't know, when you're learning to write screenplays for movies and TV, one of the first things that you're supposed to get rid of is the long-winded sentences. It's supposed to be shrunk down into as little words as possible because you're trying to convey an image, not beautiful language that helps enwrap the soul and all of that. So you're trying to use words that help convey that to a reader. So it's one of those, the best example I can give is, instead of saying he sat down on the ground because he was tired, it then becomes he dropped, because one, there's only one way for you to go when you're dropped. Usually when you drop yourself down, it's because you're tired or you're anxious or something happened or whatever. And so instead of saying he sat down on the ground because he was tired, that is way longer and it takes way longer for people to read, where instead of he dropped. And so therefore that's what you learn when you learn how to do screenplays. So that's why it's actually really interesting that Victoria Schwab, Victoria Aveyard turned this into such a descriptive book, when if she went to school for screenplays, I would think it would be actually a really short one.
So I give this book a low 4 out of 5 stars.
Nicole was obviously way nicer to this book than I was, because I think I rated it a 1, and it's the whole reason that in any tags or whatever where it's like book you hate, Red Queen is my go-to. So Nicole is definitely way nicer to this book than I am, but overall I like her points and I agree with a lot of what she's saying, except I agree with it in the sense of it's the reasons I didn't like it and I rated it so low, whereas Nicole still rated it highly, even with the points that maybe she didn't like as much. Overall, guys, this was actually a lot of fun to go through somebody else's video and see their points and thoughts, especially on a book that I don't like. Thank you so much to Nicole for offering to let me do this with her video. I unbelievably appreciate it. As I said at the beginning, all of her links and socials will be down below. Please feel free to go check her out. She deserves it. As always, guys, like every other YouTuber on the planet, please subscribe. It's the only way we will grow this channel. Also, as always, guys, keep reading. I hope you love what you're reading, and I will see you next time.